Peace, everyone. It's Yashi. Hope all of you are well and warm wherever you happen to be in the world. So, this is my final creative response to human development. I have a tendency to ramble, so I'm going to just get to it so that the next thing I know, it's not like 20 minutes long. So, for this final creative response, I was inspired by, I always jack up his name, Rorschach. I need to be looking at it. The ink block test. I was inspired by, I've always been inspired by ink blots though. I love working in black and white. I like working on black paper, white chalk, white paper, charcoal. But what has always been striking to me about the ink blots are just the different images that each individual is able to see from one image, and I'm supposing that this was the reason that they used it as a way in which to test the characteristics and personalities of different individuals. I was inspired, of course, by the color black and white and a lot of, what we are reading and different theories just, strictly being black and white, no room for color, no room for texture, no room for diversity. So I created a series of black and whites and two colors that are kind of reminiscent of what it looks like to kind of bring those worlds together, using the traditional theory as foundation, but adding the diversity, the texture, and then ultimately the color that we see in what mental health, healing, and the different modalities look like. So I hope that you enjoy this. I get so weird when I'm recording, so excuse me. But I felt really good about creating this work, and like I said, I'm just always excited to work in black and white. It just I always try to force color in and realize that black and white is just my thing. So yeah, I'm not going to talk too much. I'm just looking at the order at which I want to show it. So, So this first one, they don't really have names, but this would be the first piece. And the first piece is, it's a combination of, I did some stencil work as well as some splatter painting, some sponging. It was a white paper, but I wanted to make sure that it was as textured as possible to kind of just give the effect of, making sure that all of the space was filled, kind of honoring the whole being, not just the image that's in the center and everything just white, that we're just far more complex and textured than we're given credit for a lot of times. So this is the first piece. All right. The next piece, it's a little more literal because it actually started as an ink blot, and then I found myself just starting to make all these different tribal etchings that you'll see are kind of consistent throughout the series. So this began as an ink blot where I just simply put some paint in the middle of the paper and folded it in half, and was working with some kind of Navajo kind of stencils and just started to build from there. So this is also speaking of my connection to, well, not even my connection, but what I am finding about myself as I'm moving through this program, that I am deeply connected to ancestral work, incorporating ritual practice with a focus on ancestral trauma, within an EXA framework. So this is showing up in just about everything that I do. I mean, definitely into textiles, definitely into textures, but the ancestral aspect kind of bleeds through this. So it's this piece. I don't have any names for anything. Usually I'm pretty good at names, but I don't have any names for anything. Um, And this piece, again, just the series. It's like the continuance of the angles, the lines. I thought at first that this was looking like an eye. It was looking like the womb. Just places where healing takes place, energy centers that exist within us. And again, you know, just like the ink blot, you turn it in different directions and you end up seeing something completely different, you know. So that is this piece. And this piece is kind of like, let's just say that everything just started overlapping, kind of, you know, is a bit in disarray, just kind of muddled a bit. And it kind of has to go through this chaos in order for healing to be restored, for there to be some sort of balance created. And thus, the final of the black and white, and that would be this, which I'm really, really proud of and really love. So, you know, you have the pathways here, and then there's like, I don't know if you can see, but there's like this being in the center that is completely inspired by ink blot. And there's the darker parts of the piece are all the ink blot, but then I just started to build around it, and it just kind of has, you know, this being in the center where all of his facets, all of his crunchy parts, smooth parts, lovely parts, all of his parts are being honored, and it's almost like this Garden of Eden. I don't know. That's kind of what this looks like to me. After I, you know, sat back from it. So yeah, this one is probably my favorite one of the series, because it just kind of, it's, you know, it kind of just brings all of it together. So that's this final. And then I wanted to play around a little bit more with pigment. So I had like some pigment paint that I was working with, like the little powdery pigment and the spray bottle of water, and just started to play around with different colors and sprayed the water on the paper with the pigment, folded it, and was like, ink blot. But this is a different representation of ink blot, more reminiscent of, I think, what it would look like, encompassing all that we are and all that we're growing to now. So I had to do two of them because I love blue. But ideally, yeah, this is the first, which I love. And again, you know, you turn it in different directions, you see something completely different. That kind of looks like a very fierce elephant to me, this one in particular. But and then, yeah. And then this one is the same, almost like a beautiful rainbow atom bomb, which I really do love. So, really beautiful. So, that is my contribution creatively. And figure why not, since I'm always into burning stuff. This is my little pot. And I usually put a cake of charcoal in here, and then I have like little random bags of different types of incense. This is actually Somali frankincense, which is good for circulation, good for just opening pathways as far as spiritually and just kind of clearing the mind. So I'm sending you all a little bit of love and peace, you know, and, you know, you know, just sending all of that to all of you. Hope I don't set any alarms off, but I don't think I will. So that is all. Wishing you all a beautiful rest of your day and beautiful rest of your week. All right. Ashe.